What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big 12 football channel. Our 2019 college football schedule previews continue with the TCU Horned Frogs. You can see their schedule on your screen. A little bit of a disappointing season for them last year. It was a down year. They went 7-6, had that just ugly bowl win against Cal. But you look at the roster and see what they have coming back. This team should be improved. I think they'll be better. Alex Delton, the transfer quarterback from Kansas State, comes in, so there's going to be a really interesting quarterback competition here at TCU. They have some options there, and that was really an area of concern last season. We'll see how that plays out. Defensively, they lose several players there, but you really believe in Gary Patterson, and defensively, he's going to be able to get it done. Rager is back at receiver, have the running backs back, so this should be a pretty good team, and a team that I think is improved in 2019. You look at the schedule, they got Arkansas, Pine Bluff to open up, on the road at Purdue, then SMU. So all three non-conference games right there out of the gate. Two fairly easy games, and then Purdue will be pretty tough on the road. That's going to be a big game. A sneaky good non-conference game that I don't think many people have mentioned at this point. But yeah, that's going to be a fun one there. Actually, that's week 3. They have a bye week between week 1 and week 3. So week 2 will be their first bye week. SMU coming up next again, and then Kansas on the road at Iowa State. That could be a difficult game there. And then they get their second bye week before running the gauntlet in the Big 12. They play on the road at Kansas State, then Texas, on the road at Oklahoma State, Baylor, at Texas Tech, at Oklahoma, and finish out with West Virginia. There is no break. There is no easy game in that stretch. That is a brutal stretch to close out the season for TCU. So it's a team that starts with a pretty light schedule, and then it gets much, much tougher as they get into that big stretch in the Big 12. So you look for the easy wins. I think you can give them one against Arkansas Pine Bluff. They should win that game. It should not be close. Of course, crazy things happen in college football. But we're going to assume that they win that game, and they win it easily. Then you start looking to that next tier of games, the games that they should win. There could be maybe a big upset, but if everything goes the way you would expect, they should win these games. And I think you can pencil SMU as a win. Again, could be a fairly close game, but I like TCU in that game. And same thing with Kansas. They're playing them at home. Yes, Kansas has less miles now, but it's not going to change much in one season. So that gets you 3 wins. Then you look at the rest of the schedule, and it's pretty tough to find a bunch of wins. Again, Purdue is going to be a tough game. Iowa State on the road going to be tough. Kansas State on the road, tough. Texas at Oklahoma State. Baylor at Texas Tech, at Oklahoma. West Virginia, just a really, really tough schedule. The most likely games that I think that you would win in the Big 12 are probably Kansas State and Texas Tech. And they have to play both of those games on the road, so that really makes the schedule tougher. I don't really see this team beating Oklahoma or Texas. To me, those two teams are just a little bit above everyone else. I think Iowa State is the only team that might be able to catch them, but it's very unlikely. I think TCU is probably in that next tier of teams there with maybe Oklahoma State, and we'll see what Baylor's going to do as well. So, 2 losses, I think, for sure. And then I would say best case scenario, you lose one more game, you finish the season 9-3. To me, that's about the best TCU is going to do. And that'll be a pretty good season. Again, going through that stretch, if they can win 9 games, that's pretty solid. But on the flip side, worst case scenario, I think it's got to be about 6-6, perhaps even a little lower than that. Because, again, they could lose to Purdue, definitely. Iowa State could definitely be a loss. Texas on the road at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma on the road. I mean, it's very easy to find 6 wins on the schedule, and you might could even go lower. You might could even say 5-7 because, again, there aren't a lot of games where TCU is going to be a big favorite. They might be a slight favorite against Texas Tech, might be a slight favorite against Kansas State, but it won't be more than a touchdown. So these games, a lot of them will be close. They'll win some, they'll lose some, in my opinion, and I think they finish between 6 and 9 wins. And again, that's just the regular season. I'm not counting a bowl game in there. So with a bowl win, yeah, you could see TCU maybe getting to 10 wins. I think that would be your best case scenario. But in the 12 regular season games, I think 9-3 probably the most likely best case scenario for TCU. But we've seen them in the past play at a really, really high level. Can they do it again? I don't know. Again, the schedule is pretty tough, especially once you get past Kansas, and I know they get a bye week between Iowa State and Kansas State, but really starting with that Iowa State game, there's just no breaks on the schedule, no easy games on there, and I think it's going to be difficult for TCU to run through that schedule. They might start 4-0, but then again, I'm seeing at least 3 losses for the rest of the way. So that's my thoughts on TCU and what their projected record could potentially be. Thank you for watching this video. If you're a Big 12 football fan, please subscribe to the channel. As always, leave your comments down below. We always like to hear from you. And for the latest in Big 12 football, keep it right here.